This evening we are here at the Ritzy Brixton, and we are here for a very special event tonight, and that is the premiere worldwide screening of A Way of Life. Some independent British filmmakers have come together to produce a film which is about worldwide hip-hop, looking at it from a different angle. We have a packed house tonight, and what we're going to be doing is giving you an opportunity to see and experience what happens at this premiere and the feedback that comes back afterwards from the people who have had the opportunity to see this film for the first time here in London at the Ritzy Brixton.
Free ticket. Record 2, lesson 9. Record 2, lesson 9.
We're here to see the premiere screening of the documentary A Way of Life. A Way of Life is a documentary about global hip-hop, which we've been in the production of for the best part of 5.5 years.
Where did this idea come from?
It came from when we was in Germany, and we saw that the people reacting to their homegrown hip-hop.
What do you think is going to attract the audiences around the world to this film, and what have you done to achieve to give them what you feel that they should get out of this film?
Basically, I think a lot of people will get a different perspective on hip-hop. That's what I think, because a lot of people have this idea that like kind of hip-hop is all this blingy, gangster kind of way of being, and that hip-hop plays no other role. But like, I think around the world, they will see hip-hop from other countries. They will see similarities between the different types of hip-hop, and they will also see the differences. They will see how these hip-hop is involved in these different countries, and how it's basically been there to help people within, you know, like kind of like in Cambodia, when it gave people discipline, the little kids discipline, it gave them like hope and a future. Also with the landmine victims and things like that. Also in the Middle East, what it played there. Yeah, I just think it will show that hip hop's not just bling bling and gangster and things like that.
What do you hope to achieve from this story that you're telling?
Well,
yeah, go on.
Well, I think that, you know, we're just showing people that, you know, outside America, you know, there's a whole massive phenomenon of hip hop, and people have made it their own, and people have taken their own culture, their music, and I think it kind of opens people to new ideas in terms of expression, in terms of understanding other cultures, and also understanding new music, world music as well.
Educational, I would say.
Yeah.
Educational and kind of like showing people a different way about it, basically. That's what I hope anyway. I hope that people learn something from it. That's what I'm hoping.
And from here in Brixton in London, which is the first screening of this film, where do you hope to take this film?
Everywhere.
Around the world.
Yeah,
really.
everywhere.
Yeah, you know.
Everywhere.
It's a global hip hop film, so it fits everyone, really. Everyone who has a passion for hip hop, which is the world, really, you know.
Yeah, it's everywhere, so we could take it everywhere.
How many of you lot out there love hip hop music? Please make some. I didn't need to ask twice there. All right, so I'm sure everybody's ready to see this wonderful film, A Way of Life. It's a documentary that's going to take us on a crazy journey. So without further ado, Shaib and Andre, please tell the guys some more.
Way of Life took us, what, 5 years to do? 5.5 years to do, very long time. And yeah, man, we're going to share our journey, traveling around the world, capturing hip-hop musically, creatively, and you know what I mean? Yeah, just want to share our journey with you and how we made this film. And first we're going to show a promo, the story of how we made the film, then we're going to show you the actual film.
I'd like to say thanks to everyone for coming and turning up, and another little note is that Big Narstie, he will not be on the Q&A because he was double booked. So yeah, that's all. But anyway, so we're ready to start. Yeah, I know. Yeah, so yeah, we're ready to go. So, cool.
One more time, man. Give it up for Shive. Who's got jet lag out of that? Who's got jet lag? Tell the truth. In terms of like, because you know, watching this movie, you could see there's a lot of passion involved in it. You guys went all around. I don't know how many times you went around the world and whatnot. But what was it that triggered that made you go, all right, if we're going to do this, we have to do this way. We have to do it properly.
I think like hip hop has been documented in certain ways, but maybe not looking at the cultural and social kind of influences behind it and its spread. And with the Cambodia bit, that actually come about because I was reading an article in National Geographic, and that it was that same woman who was on there, and she was describing how they used how they used hip hop to raise awareness around landmine victims, and I thought that was amazing because that's like kind of who knows about those sides of hip hop basically. So that's kind of
That's what kind of triggered it. And Shai, could you break down your, you know, what you award winning? So obviously you're a filmmaker before this. How long have you been doing it?
For a long time, man.
Studying,
Yeah, I studied it in college, uni. Then had a few jobs within the industry, and then I decided to, you know, on a few occasions to do projects myself. I was part of a collective called Real Projections with a guy called Mark Fadul over there, a few others as well. Our film in 2006 won the Best Newcomer Award at the Coldharbour Film Festival. Yeah. And then from there, and then from there it led us to make As Our Story with Ahmed and Ryan, who's in the building. And then it's led me here to make A Way of Life.
Give us an outline of how this documentary came about then. Obviously you've mentioned the Cambodian thing hit you quite hard. Shai?
Yeah, as in the promo, we went to Splash Festival, as I said at the beginning of when I was introducing it. We went to Splash Festival, we were influenced by seeing the German hip hop and whatnot. And then from there, you know, me and Andre went on our walks and we kind of started molding the documentary together and kind of, you know, seeing how we can make it work, seeing what countries we can go to. And it's funny enough because at the time when we decided to make the documentary, we both got made redundant.
Oh, thank you for telling everyone that.
But
So that's where my money went.
Yeah, that's the one.
But we felt that, you know, they ain't gonna stop us, and we needed to just make this film.
Were you working for the same company, can I ask?
That would have been bad. But no, actually it was two separate companies, so it's kind of coincidental it happened at the same time, really.
Which is interesting, obviously going back to, was it KRS said something about making something out of nothing?
Yeah.
And that was quite a theme throughout the film. Certain people were saying that, you know, being able to make something out of nothing. So, you know, I mean, you guys made a whole lot of something out of being redundant and that. All right, so working on the documentary, obviously it took a bunch of years to do it. What would you say were some of the biggest challenges in completing the documentary?
Financing. Funding and financing was a massive one, and obviously content clearance as well. Like basically you've got loads and loads of content that you don't own, getting that cleared, also getting stock footage and licensing, that was massive as well.
Yeah, I'd agree as well. And I feel that, you know, we could have gone to, we didn't go to a lot of countries together. We went, you know, Andre went to Malaysia, I went to Ghana. The only country we went to really was like Cambodia, Poland, and And a few other countries.
We don't want to talk about poetry.
So the hardest part was what in terms of getting what happened in Poland? You got some troublemakers out there. Elliot, we got any Polish in here, by the way? Yeah, all right, well, let's leave it. We'll leave it at that then. You know what I mean? In terms of like, you know, for me, it was really cool seeing what is going on in Ghana. Also Malaysia, it was really interesting hearing about the Malaysian government getting involved in the culture in terms of picking the B-boys for international championships, as well as them sort of funding the graph.
The whole of like central KL is basically, there's a few walls there, and basically they have yearly competitions where they invite artists from all over the world to do graffiti there. So yeah, that's really controlled by the government. So the guy who we talked to at the time, he took me to these other spots which weren't government spots, where like they do when they want to be a bit more rebellious.
Oh,
and
right.
Yeah.
And they're involved in that as well. They're happy for any sort of FUs or whatever.
Well, I don't think the guy who's there, he wasn't really involved with that element that was funded by the government. He was more the rebellious type of one. But yeah, there's two kind of like the ones who do the one that's government funded, government like kind of stamped, if you want to say, and then you've got the other guys who do it further up the canal and on the walls there, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, as I was saying, Ghana is more the musical aspect. They take, you know, their traditional music and kind of make it their own with the hip hop, kind of, you know, tweak it.
The hip life, like you're saying, the hip life thing. Yeah, it's just really interesting. So we got Rodney P here. I wanted to ask Rodney a few questions as well. Give it up for the godfather of UK hip hop. If it wasn't for this guy,
Check one.
none of us.
Skinny by the door.
Good, please give it up for Skinnyman.
Thanks everybody for turning up and making it what it is. Big up to Australian hip hop. There's native hip hop happening in Canada as well that didn't really get the whole native experience of what's going on in Canada. It's real deep, it's real deep.
There was a lot of information in that video, though, I will say.
They didn't talk about like hip hop influenced by Yorkshire puddings and all my Yorkshire muffins and.
We went a lot further than that, man. Did you watch it?
It's bigger than hip hop.
In terms of hip hop helping the people that are going through the struggle, like you were talking about in the documentary, how can we help them?
It's always been the same answer. Support your own community, support your local business. It's forever been that answer. Support your own. That's the only way it will ever work.
And Rodney, you were talking about how the community is kind of disappeared in terms of modern day British society. Do you believe that hip hop could play a role in restoring that, giving some community feeling? Because I ain't gonna lie, when you talk, like I hear a lot of the people of that era talking about Covent Garden, and I'm jealous. I'm like, shit, there's nothing like that I could see now. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know if that's true. I can't speak for what the young people are doing now, and I'm sure there are places where the young people gather and create and do their thing in terms of this grime generation or whatever generation is coming next. I don't know. In terms of community, I think like, you know, a lot of us of our age group saw the 80s. The communities got ripped out, you know, the community got ripped out, partly for various reasons, political reasons and government change reasons. And I think within hip hop, it has its own community, multicultural, multi-religious, it has its own community. But even that's struggling, to be honest, even that's struggling. But the power of hip hop for me, as opposed to rap music, the power of hip hop is the collective power that we have when we push together, you know. So can hip hop help bring that vibe back? Yeah, I would hope so. I would hope so. But I think in a lot of ways that the horse has bolted already, to be honest.
Because what I feel like, you know, what I'm saying is that you guys used to gather at Covent Garden, like you were saying, there were people from different areas that where now they can't even do that. You're talking about a man from a certain state can't even go across the road now because of whatever, you know, whatever wars they've got going on. But back then it wasn't like that. People that might not even
well, I do think, well, you know what, God willing, I do think the music has the ability to change that. Like nothing is written in stone. It doesn't mean that because it's like that now, it's going to be like that forever. And it might not be hip hop, but I do think music and culture generally has a way of bringing people together. So looking forward, it's about, you know what I mean, trying to embrace those things that you know, make us similar rather than embracing the things that make us different. You know what I mean? And hip hop's good at doing that.
Can I add to that? When we started rapping, gathering in public wasn't a criminal offence.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Which it now is.
Yeah, and I feel like you're talking about Covent Garden. The reality is, something like Covent Garden could not exist today. Because if I got together with, you know, 20 of the guys from in here and we went and stood up in the middle of Covent Garden, there'd be a police cordon around us, we'd be kettled, it'd be ridiculous. Like, they wouldn't allow groups of young kids to just congregate and keep up antics in the way that we used to. So we had time to, like, you know, make some mistakes and learn from our errors, and, you know what I mean, build something and become people. Now in this day and time, by tomorrow morning we'll all be young criminals with records and getting our parents to pick us up from the police station. So it's a whole new world in terms of that.
All right, listen, we only got about 3 minutes left, so we're going to open it up for the audience. If anyone's got a question, put your hand up. The mic man will pass you the mic. Don't bother trying to spit your 18 bars, because we...
Where's the mic still?
As two very industrious Londoners, do you think two New Yorkers either could or would have made this film?
That's for you guys. Do you think two New Yorkers could or would have made this film? That's a very interesting one.
I'm not sure. I don't think so. You know, because most Americans don't really travel a lot, so they like to stay in their own bubble. And as Homeboy Sandman said, didn't it? Before until he travelled, and he thought that, you know, New York hip hop was the shit. So I feel that Americans have that kind of mentality where they feel that, you know, I don't need to know anything else, because
they live in a bubble.
Cause got one more here.
An American bubble.
One more here.
Yes, brothers. Alim Kamara. Just in terms of connecting with the hip hop artists around the world, especially like, you know, like the Tiny Toons. Is there any way we'll be able to get a list of the names so we can connect with them, support with them, and even just in terms of connecting with people in here? Because I think it's a hip hop group.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I was actually going to ask the same thing now.
We'll put it up on our site. Definitely.
There was something that Maestro said. Sorry, there was something that Maestro said earlier about
having a shiny forehead.
A lot of people say
You said that.
and coming from, I mean, I remember Covent Day Gardens and Covent Gardens and what it was in the day, you get me?
Ishmael.
And I'm saying that, like, beforehand, hip hop had a social message. You know what I mean? And now the overriding message is about getting paid, especially from the US angle. And being around, you can kind of see how hip hop has kind of been translated by other communities, other different countries, and still embracing that message of social change, the political radicalism of what hip hop was. You know what I'm saying? But the overriding message of America, where you see people like Lil Wayne and all these big artists making big money, and the struggle needs to be financed. Do you know what I mean? I don't think those big artists who have got paid have reinvested back in the community. So I don't see that.
Too right.
Yeah, but you know what? I also don't think, like, it's true what you're saying about them big artists now. It's true, and yeah, but I don't think that. Here's the thing for me, like, when I came into hip hop, yeah, there was this wide light. This is how it plays to me. There was this wide light that shone across hip hop as a culture, yeah. So you could have in the charts, you could have LL Cool J and Public Enemy and Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince and you know, Goldie Looking Chain, all at the same time. All of these different kinds of hip hop, but all of them being represented at the same time. And now what you get is just commercial mumble, bling bling rap shown as to the mainstream. But that doesn't mean all of the other stuff doesn't exist anymore. You just don't get to see it as much. And that for me is part of the problem, it's that balance. I don't have no problem with mumble rap or ignorant rap or drunk in the club rap. I like some of that music. On the weekend you might find me drunk in the club. But I don't want to listen to that all day, every day. I don't want my kids listening to that all day, every day. Especially since I know that hip hop has so much more to offer. And then you have to wonder, well then how come no one's hearing this other stuff? Why is it so easy to be fed this negative stuff? I keep wanting to cuss. I hope I'm censoring myself here now.
There are
there's so much negativity out there. Why is it so easy to see that, yet so hard for some, you know what I mean, upstanding young man to, you know what I mean?
They're saying we're going to have to cut, but I put it down to the programming directors. Who's running MTV? Who's running Radio 1 Extra? Who's running Choice FM? Who's running our own radio station? Who's going to play our music to our people? Thank everybody for coming. It's been...
Listen.
Thank you everyone for coming.
Yeah, thank you lot for coming.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Alright, if you can do your best, yeah, do your best. Hashtag a way of life. Spread the word about this film. I think that these guys, I really think that this could be expanded into a series. Like nearly everywhere they went, there could be an episode right there telling you a whole lot more. And Netflix needs to grab that shit right away, bro. You know?
Yeah, man, definitely bring up the right.
Thanks a lot, man.
Salute them.
So, sir, how did you enjoy the film tonight?
Loved it. I've learned so much about hip hop that I never knew about as I grew up with the period of time when Ice Cube was around, and it was the time before he went into Hollywood. So that was the period I grew up with, and I loved it, especially all the parts about hip hop that I never know about in Cambodia, in Syria, those part of the world.
And what was different about this film for you as a documentary?
What was different about the film, it was more focusing on the culture of hip-hop itself around the world in comparison to other documentaries that you could find on YouTube or Netflix or anywhere else that they are focusing on specific areas only, whereas this is more global.
How did you enjoy the film?
I think the film was amazing. It showed me such a different a point of view for music that I really haven't seen before. And it just showed me how, even though I'm in London and I've grown up around grime and that view of hip hop, how it's affected the world in like a global scale, and how the culture, we could be brown, yellow, green, but the culture itself won't change that. No matter where you're from, you can always understand what hip hop is and what you're saying, no matter the language.
Wow. Do you feel that you've learned something from the film?
Yeah, I've learned so many things. I've learned that we're unified by music, and that is just really beautiful.
When you first heard that it was a movie about hip-hop, what did you think?
I think I thought more about how it's gone through from the beginning to today, which it did, but I thought it might have included some of the less savoury lyrics that are happening today, but I'm glad that it didn't. It was talking about the importance of the real meaning of hip-hop.
What was your overriding feeling leaving the film? You've just seen the film, you heard the Q&A and whatever.
Yeah.
What are you feeling about the film?
I think for me it was really interesting to find out about all the countries that I wouldn't even imagined have hip-hop. You know, for instance, Cambodia, Egypt, Syria, New Zealand, Australia. Wonderful, just and really good examples of the work that they're doing over there.
I thought it was absolutely fabulous and just very insightful about the global impact of hip-hop, and it just really...
I think it's a journey. The journey was fantastic. I think for me personally, the points they picked up on Cambodia was really brought it home for me, and that was brilliant, really brilliant.
Do you feel that you learned something from this film?
Absolutely.
I think you probably underestimated the power of it. Seeing it on a global level, it really hit home that how powerful in different oppressive situations for people, it empowered them and basically gave them a voice, because you can't compare one country to another, because even if it's government, even if it's social economic, but the oppression is very different. And I've lived in Brazil, so that was very meaningful to me, watching it in Brazil, because working with street children, seeing how hard it is for people, that it empowered them, it gave them, the music was their voice.
What was the high point of you for tonight with the film?
I think it's the audience. The audience really reacted, and you could feel everybody loved it, and it was just, for me it was like, the use of the languages, in different languages, and that. It's like it's poetry.
Yes, the way of life. That was wicked. It's like hip hop is from everywhere. all parts of the world. It's everyone's, and it's bringing people together. It's unification.
It's a soul, isn't it? It's
and that's what we need, is love. Peace, love and unity. Love every time, Raggedy, bless up.
To watch it, it was beautiful. I mean, especially being European, all we ever think, you know, as Europeans is we see Europe hip hop and we come from the American hip hop. You don't think of like places like, you know, like the East and places like that into hip hop. I mean, you know, you get it because you get Japan and that 'cause it's kind of got more mainstream itself and stuff like that. But it was just like, it was watching like, you know, a man in a field just spitting some bars. I mean, it made me glow, you know. It hit
So
my
would you
heart.
say the film excited you?
It inspired me. It makes me want to do more. You know, I always do my graffiti and I've always been into it and it's like my religion. I will never stop. You know, to paint freely without restrictions, without the industry telling you what to do or the scene to tell you what to do, is the purest form of expression. You know, we should be free. And I was watching these people in countries where they've been so oppressed and they were free now. And it was just, you know, a little man breaking and a little guy, you know, like from Norway spitting on some bars, like just because his dad let him listen to his pop. It was inspirational. It was fucking inspirational.
How did you enjoy the film, sir?
I think it was absolutely amazing. There was so much that I learned personally from hip hop, especially someone growing in hip hop, right? Yeah, from younger, you know, listening to so many like kind of influences, people like Rakim and, you know, like one of mine is Bone Thugs and Harmony, for example, like those kind of areas and that for me. But like I didn't know like that it was so expansive. I knew that like French, I know about French rappers and German rappers and stuff like that, but I didn't know that it went as fast paced like Malaysia and Cambodia. Like it's really opened my mind.
I actually loved it. Yeah, it's really gives you an idea of how all started if you don't know much about hip hop in general. I'm not from UK. My country has a hip hop culture as well, and they thought they are aware of the American one, but they don't really know about other countries. That'll be interesting to see that hip hop is everywhere.
And yourself, sir?
For me, the message was simple: a way of life. Go and see it.
I thought the film was very good. It was like inspirational about hip hop. Yeah.
Where would you like to see this film go, sir?
Well, I like to see it, you know, on all platforms, you know, people to recognise Shibe's work, because, you know, and hopefully he can go on to like direct other films.
I got a lot from it. Like in terms of, I never realised that hip hop had a worldwide culture, and it's in countries like it. I saw Malaysia up there. I'm from Malaysia, and I was very proud to see that they're doing their thing over there.
Definitely educational. I think a lot of the current generation right now, what they listen to isn't
not hip hop.
It's not hip hop. I think this show or this program demonstrates that, you know, the real hip hop still exists.
Absolutely fantastic. It's beautiful the way that Shaibu and Andre have captured the history of hip hop from around the world, all the political and the revolutionary stuff that they've captured today. It's beautiful. Absolutely fantastic. And yeah, I just want to say a big thank you to Shaibu and Andre. It's been amazing. I've seen like loads of hip hop documentaries, but this one captured it in a different foresight.
Can you give me your name, sir?
My name's Norman Robinson.
Norman, what brought you down tonight?
I was invited. I've known Shai for about 5 years, and I did the narration on the movie.
You did the narration on the movie. And what would you say was the high point of the content that you were part of with the movie?
The high point of the content that I was part of?
Yes.
Well, I was given a script. I recorded it. I didn't watch the film. I was incredibly impressed. And for me, my personal high point would have been the education I received about how it's affected people worldwide. I didn't know it was like really that big.
The one thing I've always liked about these guys is like how green it is and like how like DIY it is. It's like that's the thing, we've always talked about it, and it's like, you know, maybe we should, you know, try and get hold of bigger powers that be, you know, bigger labels, bigger distributors, whatever. But like, that's the wrong way to think. I think like the best thing these guys can do is continue what they're doing and like keep it homegrown, keep it green, because what they've got is like gold, I think. So I think like as long as these guys keep putting the effort in and keep putting it out there, eventually they'll be the distributor. These guys will come to them, and it'll pay off.
What were the high points for you?
Visiting Ghana, that's my home country, so that was in my heart though still. It was a good look.
For me, it was it's a massive cultural influence, you know, because hip hop goes back for years, you know, and it's embedded in a lot of us. It's embedded in our way of life, in our DNA, and so I think it was incredible the way it moved from country to country, because there's a lot of insights I saw in the program that I didn't really realize, you know, like the stuff in Malaysia, you know, the stuff in even Norway, you know, Sweden, Brazil, you know, it spreads across all these countries, and the message seems to be similar in terms of, you know, a voice for the people.
I think it was great. It was a good insight into like hip hop, you know, not just in America, but all around the world. It's a lot more than just music, you know. It's like I said, it's a way of life. Get it out there worldwide. Because, like I said, like for me, a lot of people didn't know. So to producers, get it out there. And I'm not just talking about the rest of England, I'm talking about the rest of the world.